Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our first ever podcast of Build and Banter hosted by PROTEOR. I'm your host, Mike Gorski. Here I am, accompanied by Ryan Beenders.
Hello.
He's our business development manager. Over here, I have Mason Roof, our 3D printing extrusion line manager.
How's it going?
And one of my personal best friends, long and lasting, Tony Gutierrez from BIONIC, Prosthetics, and Orthotics.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you for joining us today. I would say our first ever podcast. We should probably go around the room, introduce ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So I'm Mike Gorski. I'm the GM of this whole operation, right? What are we doing here? We're building 3D printers. We're focusing on prosthetics, and really, we're just trying to figure out what we're doing. Are we not?
Yeah, I mean, we're figuring it out every single day.
Every day, 3D printing, new technology, what's going on, how to keep up with the O and P industry. It's just new tech. We're constantly evolving, right?
I thought you guys were just making hot glue guns that go in circles.
We sometimes do. I think we do that
That's
as well.
the analogy I use when I'm printing. I just like, if it comes out like a hot glue gun, then we're good to go.
Exactly.
Perfect.
All right. So how about Ryan? You want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little about what you do here.
Yeah, I can do a quick introduction. Hi, my name is Ryan Beenders. I work here in business development, as Mike said, as well as an industrial designer. Day to day, don't really know what's going to happen, and we have a good time with it. A lot of marketing goes on, and a lot of designing.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Every day is a new experience here. Do we agree?
I'd agree.
I would agree.
In a good way. In
Yeah.
a great way.
Yeah. But we have somebody here with us, very special person, who makes sure our consumables are always in line. Diameter is dead on. He's always running these extrusion lines. You have Mason Roof, everybody.
Some say, before we get into it, the best pet G in the world.
Ooh, I agree.
I
have heard he makes the best pet G.
I would say so.
Now, we use a niche grade, but damn, does he keep that in tolerance.
Oh, he does.
Mason Roof, everybody. Mason, go ahead. Tell us what you do here.
How you guys doing? I'm Mason. I'm the extrusion line and 3DP manager here at PROTEOR Print. Started about a year ago. I was looking for a new career and such, and talked to Mike, and I liked him. I thought he was a cool guy, so he gave me a shot, and we've just been killing it ever since. Doing good stuff out here.
And I would say one of the things about you that really stands out, you have a great personality.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
And you have a hell of a work ethic.
Thanks.
You do. You're one of the first people in, one of the last ones out. And for people your age, that's hard to find.
Definitely, yeah.
And the fact that you show up every day, you want to get to work right away, a lot of respect for you right away. I know you didn't know much about 3D printing, especially running an extrusion line, but that's okay. We did. And we taught you, and you have blown me out of the water ever since. I am so impressed by what you've done here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
If that pet G's out of spec, man, you are stopping that line. You're adjusting that line. You're making sure we're shipping the best consumables out there.
Always on it.
My man
Always
over there. My man. And now, one of my personal best friends, going way back in the day, Tony Gutierrez from BIONIC, Prosthetics, and Orthotics.
Well, really honored and happy and proud to be a part of this launch of a podcast. A little bit of a surprise after traveling all day, but I'm happy to be here. A couple of my really good friends that I've gotten to know over the years. Like Mike said, I'm Tony. I'm with BIONIC Prosthetics and Orthotics. I'm based out of Maryville, Indiana, which is a suburb just outside of Chicago. I'm the Director of Clinical Advancement and Innovation at BIONICS, and what I've been working on the last several years of my career is building a digital and 3D printing workflow to support our 50 clinic practice. So that's come with its headaches, its ups and downs, but partnering with Mike's team and the new team at PROTEOR Print really has made our lives quite a bit easier. You know, we really enjoy working with you guys, love your machines, love your material, and what it's done is it's affected our patient care in a radical way, and it's made patient care so much better for our group. So we're really happy to be such close partners and such great friends, and really looking forward to see how this journey develops.
It's going to be a great journey. It really is. And I think what a lot of people were worried about is when they heard the acquisition of Film Innovations by PROTEOR, they were worried our identity was going to change. And I had a couple people reach out to me, what's going on? You know, we bought FI machines to work with FI, not with PROTEOR. Is everything okay? And so I was talking to a lot of people about that, but we're still us, right? And that's why we did this deal with PROTEOR, because we're still us. We're still our, what would you say, simple blue-collar mentality type people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we work our asses off.
I would say ragtag.
Ragtag? Would you say ragtag?
Ragtag in the best way possible.
Right. In a very professional way, I'd say we're right. Even though we're very advanced, I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for like how advanced we are.
We don't.
We work our asses off. We show up early. We stay late. We make sure we ship the best 3D printers we can for the O and P industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I agree. It's a lot of what we do here is day to day for us, but a lot of people will look in and be like, wow, you guys really know your stuff.
Yeah.
And to us, especially maybe some of the younger crew around the shop, that's kind of like interesting to hear to us, especially being new to the industry.
Right.
But you, Darren, Riley, Marty, have really taken everybody under the wing of understanding 3D printing.
Yeah.
And interacting with those customers has made it that much easier.
Right. I agree.
You know, and you guys finding a partnership in the prosthetics and orthotics space, there's a lot of same traditional values in what we're doing. Most prosthetic shops around the country are little mom and pop, blue collar, serving a community type shops with hands-on dedication to a craft, building the best thing you can to serve the patients, serve whoever your customer is. For us,
Right.
it's patients, and for you guys indirectly, no matter what it is, you're still providing a tool to create excellent patient care. So that's why it's been such a fun journey. And you guys probably don't even have an understanding of the amount of impact that you've had in such a
And we
short
don't.
time.
You're right. We don't, because we don't see that, but we hear about it through you. Like seeing the clinic in Maryville when I was out there recently, talking to your team. I mean, you guys have what in Maryville, 7, 8 of our high flow printers, 7 or 8.
Yeah, 7 or 8 of them. Yeah.
7 or 8, and
Yeah,
seeing those.
depending on the day.
Yeah, right. But seeing that just working, seeing all that PETG going through, and seeing all the PETG that Mason here made, seeing the machines that we built by hand, we were like, wow, like it's real. Like we know it's real because we're shipping it, but just seeing is believing, and seeing it in action, seeing a patient getting fitted with a PETG check socket, seeing them walking out, I was like, it's real. It just hits you harder when you can see it in person.
Yeah, it's such an impact on someone's life. As a prosthetist, one of the imagine telling your parents you want to be a prosthetist when you grow up. That's
How'd they take that?
you can imagine with the euphemism. But
Don't you want to be an astronaut instead?
Are you sure?
Are you thinking this through?
Think about this.
every time I give a presentation to like prospective students, like whether it be high school level, college level, whatever it is, I always try and open with that joke, because I think it's a good icebreaker to the conversation. It's just close enough that if you say it 3 times fast, you might slip up a little bit, but it's good enough to get that conversation started.
Yeah, definitely.
But let me get back to it. It's for us in clinical care, one of the best days is that aha moment, that those first steps, the first time someone stands up, the first time, someone has undergone a traumatic life-changing event in an amputation, and you can get them up and show them, hey, look, it's not a wheelchair for you. You can walk, you can stand, you can get back to normal life, and being a part of that process is huge. So thank you guys. Thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And for BIONIC, especially you hold a special place in my heart, right? So does Sagar. Can we talk about Sagar for a second?
Shout out Sagar.
Sagar, this guy.
Just so you guys know, it's Sagar, like soccer.
Oh.
Do you know how many times I've heard it pronounced differently? I feel bad for this guy.
It's Sagar.
I've heard Sagar, cigar. I've heard cigar, and I came from the cigar industry. I'm like, listen, SAGAR is not cigar. We know that.
Like soccer.
Like soccer.
Yeah.
Okay, but you see, even from us, I've known him for years. I'm still saying it wrong.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
feel bad for him.
You can still keep calling him Sagar.
I will. I'll keep doing it. But he's been a rock star. You've been a huge rock star. I mean, you're one of my personal best friends. Sagar's one of my personal best friends. I just want to say I appreciate you guys, because I want to say it was what 2017, 16. You guys got your first FI machine. I think 2017.
Yeah, I think it was 2017.
2017. You got your first one, and it's kind of just blossomed from there, right?
It's still sitting there. It's still running prints every once in a while. It's not our bread and butter machine anymore, but it still holds a special place in our heart.
The poor girl's been put through her paces.
It is, yeah.
It has a different extrusion system on it, way different build from back in 2017-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still there. It's still kicking, still running, and that's one of the best things about your guys' machines. We have a traditional O&P workshop full of plaster dust, carbon dust, everything, and those machines just keep on running. You plug them in, and they work every day. They show up to work. They're there providing excellent output always. So it's a testament to the quality that you guys put in.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And just thank you for being with us all these years.
Yeah, man.
I mean, even when we were starting out as a small business, I remember I'm going to say Sagar because I'm used to calling him Sagar. I know Sagar called me. He was looking at some other 3D printers, and he's like, "Well, why you?" And I told them, we're doing this. We're a small business. We're just trying to make it, because we had no outside funding, right? So my wife and I built this. We had $10,000 in life savings put on the line, and say either it's going to fail or it's gonna work out, right? No outside funding, no private equity, no VCs, no government grants, nothing. And Sagar was like, all right, I can appreciate that. And because of that, you're getting my business. And then I heard the story of BIONIC, how he started, right? Family done. And it's just, it blows my mind what you guys have accomplished. 49, 50 clinics you guys are at. That's huge.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride over the past 5 years. When I joined BIONIC in about 10 years ago, I joined them out of necessity. I was in the area. I did not want to move. Wasn't really happy with who I was with, and was looking for an opportunity to find that place that I can call home. And BIONIC gave me that opportunity. And when I joined the group, we had 4 clinics, across 50 miles of territory, and about 15 people. And over the past 10 years, we're sitting somewhere close to about 200 employees on our team.
Crazy. Good for you guys.
We've got 49 clinics in 12 or 13 states. I don't know the exact count right now, but it's been fun to see the growth, be a part of it, and really, my mission over this past 6 years has been to scale the printing at our practice and make it a mainstay. And we proud to say that our prosthetic side of our practice, right now on the diagnostic side, we're at about a 95 to 98% digital workflow.
Wow, so you're all in on digital.
All in on digital, yeah.
I'm going to say you're probably the most advanced clinic I've ever met who's been all in on digital, by far. Yeah. By far, you guys are. I'm not even saying I think you guys are. I've never known any clinic who could be 95, 98% all digital. That's insane.
Really ties into the name BIONIC, doesn't it?
Ah, it does. I see what we did there. I like that.
A little bit.
I like that. But it's the thing is, though, like 3D printing, it's not in its infancy stage, right? I believe it's starting to get into a mass adoption stage. But you guys were adopting it wait, what, 5 years ago?
Yeah, I think 2016 is when we brought our first. 2016 is when we bought our first printer. Our first printer was one of the Create It Real printers, and we saw the vision, right, of what it could do. Now the output, it wasn't great. I remember my first prosthetic socket print. It took 62 hours to print.
62 hours.
It was maybe a millimeter thick, and if you looked at it the wrong way, it would snap into a.
It would just break
pieces.
itself, right?
Yeah, but it opened the door, and it was the aha moment. It was the question, like, okay, what roads can we go down with this? Let's continue pushing it. Let's continue figuring it out. Let's work with the design, work with the hardware, work with the software, whatever we need to do to try and find that flow. And we made that work for a couple of years until we bought our first FI machine. I'm not sure what the label was on it.
It was one of the original Icaruses. It was like the Gen 1.0 Icarus. Yeah.
So it was an Icarus. And the aha moment was when we could print a socket in about 8 hours.
Okay.
Now the filament wasn't quite there yet.
Right. Well, we weren't making it.
Yeah.
Mason was Mason.
Of course.
We didn't have Mason.
Of course,
yet.
yeah.
Mason, you were still in like junior high or kindergarten?
What, 2017? Yeah, just about.
Just about. One of those kindergarten, junior high, whatever.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing all the way through.
Still cutting with the safety scissors and drawing with crayons.
I think he still has the safety scissors. I won't give him. So you're leading the industry. You had the Icarus 1.0, 8 hours. So if you don't mind me trying to guide the story here, right?
Yeah,
so you have the 8 hours, and that was with our standard hot end. But then we came with the high flow hot ends. All right. So now you're going from 8 hours down to 1 to 2 hours. Do you think the high flow hot ends, from a business standpoint, changed the way you guys do operation?
Oh yeah, it was a complete game changer.
Yeah.
Because 8 hours still couldn't even touch what we could do by hand.
Yeah.
But an hour and a half to 2 hours, game changer.
Awesome.
We can see a patient in the morning, digitally modify it, have them back at lunchtime, check sockets ready to go. If it fits, great. If it's some issues with it, redesign it, remodify it, have them back at the end of the day. And within a day, we could realistically have a patient ready to go to their final prosthesis. Yeah. And that really was the huge step forward for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, in this process now, how comfortable would you say your clinicians are in going through that process?
Now very comfortable because we've worked to get them there. It's not easy work to look at. So if you look at our clinical team, we have everyone from residents just graduating prosthetic school, 25, 26 years old, to clinicians that are in their mid to late 60s.
Yeah.
So we cover that entire gambit of the clinical spectrum. So we're teaching people at all levels how to use this new technology, how to embrace it. And, all it takes is that one case that gives them that aha moment. And a sentence that sticks with me from about 2018, 2019 is, this is never going to work. Yep. I don't see how we could do this. Traditional so much better. And the same clinician 6 months later is like, now that I got this, now that I'm using it, I don't know how I could ever do it any other way.
Right.
So that's how fast the transition can come. But it takes that dedication, that effort, that education, the right material, the right machines to make sure that you can get your people there.
Yeah. So, all right. So with all the material you're going through, I kind of want to shift to Mason here for a second.
Yeah.
All right. Because Mason, I don't believe, has had that experience of a clinic yet, and seeing somebody walk after a traumatic incident like this. Mason, would you say that, is that a safe assumption I have?
Yeah, definitely. Besides videos, but
right. So understanding what Tony just said, how does it feel to you knowing you see natural pellets go into a dryer, go into an extrusion line, and then you just see really a monofilament, a string? It's like making fishing line, right? But you're making 3D printer filament,
right?
And seeing what you're making. Now hearing Tony's story of saying, wow, these people were in, they had a traumatic incident, they're walking for the first time. You actually created that. You created that material they're walking on. Right. I mean, that has to be like a surreal out-of-body experience, right?
Oh, no, yeah, that it feels great. I mean, I'm very proud of what I do here. I talk about it nonstop to people. Like,
awesome.
When someone's like, what do you do for work? I give them a whole speech. I'm like, I love it here. I think it's great. And the fact that we're able to help people, too.
Right, yeah.
It really makes the job feel that much better. And yeah, I mean, it's a great feeling. I really like it.
Mike and I, when we first met, it was I think it was in Atlanta.
It was Hotlanta, actually.
Hotlanta,
it was hot as hell there.
Yeah. And we, I have two lasting memories of Mike. He's a man of his word, and he forgets his tools. So
tell us about it.
Okay.
Tell us about it.
So Mike and I, first time I met him, kind of instant, best friends, budding bromance.
We really
just instant great friends.
We were the original stepbrothers.
Yeah.
The original stepbrothers. Did we just become best friends? Yep, within the first 30 seconds of meeting each other. And we have ever since, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're at a busy day, BIONIC. This is one of our first events where we're kind of showcasing BIONIC at I can't remember if it was Academy or AOPA, but we're in Atlanta. Yeah. We're showcasing our practice, showcasing our growth, talking about what we've done, how we're doing things just a little bit differently. And, at the end of the day, it's a long day. It's 10 hours on your feet, on concrete floors, talking, mingling. You're wiped out.
Yeah.
And Mike's like, let's get a beer afterwards. I'll meet you downstairs. And I'm like, cool. Let me go up to the room. Drop my bag off. I'll be down. And we're staying in an Embassy Suites, so it's like a big open, or maybe it's a Hyatt. I don't know, but you could see everything.
But yeah, so our conference, right, for that show was connected to the hotel bar.
Yeah.
So we only had a 5-foot walk to a huge open bar area. It was like a huge tower, right? Like it was like an open concept. All the rooms were around in a circle. Bar was down center.
Yeah,
right?
and Mike's like, I'm gonna be sitting right here. I'll meet you down here in a few minutes.
Yeah. First time I ever met.
Like, as soon as I get to my room, I look downstairs, and Mike is sitting right there. He already has my beer ordered, and I'm like, this guy, I love him. I'm like, I can't take 10 minutes up here. I got to drop the bag and run back downstairs. But then that's when we really hit it off. We got to know each other, got to know about the mission of FI at the time, but now PROTEOR Print. And what you guys are trying to do. And we had a few of the machines, and we've been operating them. I hadn't been Mike's primary point of contact. At that point, he'd been really working with Sagar pretty closely. And Sagar, what he did, his job was to bring in the technology, figure out how to make it work, and then my role was to scale it in our practice. And how can we – the conversation was, Tony, no one's going to do it unless you do it.
Yeah.
So you need to take 6-7 months out of your practice, do whatever you have to do to figure out how to make this work for prosthetics. And it probably took about 6-7 months of trial and error. A lot of doing things 2 or 3 different ways to figure out how it works. But then once I got my initial recipe down, which has changed several times
Right.
over the years, but being able to, at that time I was working closely through Sagar with Mike. This is what I need. This is what I can't figure out. This is how do we get to this next level? And really, like you said, that the Kratos, right? The smaller machine.
Small was Kratos.
Smaller machine
Yeah.
was the aha moment for us. That's what enabled us to go from an 8-hour print on the original Icarus to an hour and a half to 2-hour print. And the material had gotten better. I think at that time you guys started supplying your own material.
Around that time, yeah. we
Started.
did,
So
yep.
you had your first extrusion line. You're
Yep.
supplying the own stuff.
Yep.
I was like, okay, there were ups and downs in that as well. But
Oh,
once
yeah.
we got quality under control, and I tell the story with a lot of people, a lot of our patients too, that like we work very closely with you guys and whoever your partners were at the time to develop that material.
Yeah.
We would get 3 or 4 spools.
Yep.
Test it out. We're trying something new. Okay, this didn't work. This is what we need changed. And we continually helped you guys evolve that material over time to make it applicable in a grander scale.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree 100%. I always say FI only got to where it was and only got PROTEOR's attention because BIONIC was there every step of the way. And I'll say that openly. It was. For what you and Sagar did for this small mom and pop business, tremendous. Tremendous. Like, you guys don't know the impact you've had on me personally, professionally, and this whole team here. We owe a lot to BIONIC. We do. That's why whatever you guys need, we tell you we got your back. So if you guys are calling me late at night for tech support, we got it. You need filament overnighted, we got it. If Mason has to stay late to run some of the world's best pet G, what's he going to do?
Stay late and run some pet G.
He's going to do it.
Wouldn't be
Yeah.
the first
And we
time.
appreciate that greatly. We really do, Tony.
yeah.
Thank you.
Partnership is everything.
Partnership is everything. Because it's, I know we all want to make money, right? For-profit business, I get that. But you don't want to disappoint the people who you work with.
Yeah, and you guys always have under-promised and over-delivered.
Thank you.
Which is a
Thank you.
very key sentiment that I teach to a lot of my people. Like
Thank you. Thank you.
that's how you create good relationships. You
Yeah.
you do your best, you bust your butt behind the scenes.
Yeah, we do.
To make sure that you can over-deliver on your promises and get people to where they need to be.
And I think the reason why we do that is it's not about money. It's just about being a good damn person, right? We know we're helping people. We know if you guys run out of filament for any reason, we need overnight stuff to you. It's helping somebody. It's helping somebody through a tragic incident in their life. And that's what I tell my team. Guys, it's not about what I tell my team is it's not about you guys being inconvenienced. It's about what you're doing for the people this material is going to be used for, what this machine is going to be used for. You're going to help someone through that traumatic incident like you were talking about, right? And that's what I think these guys here are starting to realize. Not that you guys were slow to get to realize that, but you're young, right? You're young. And again, seeing somebody walk for the first time. And just putting myself in Mason's shoes, right? So he's making 20 kgs an hour at Petchy, 25 these days, Mason, like what, 20-ish, 25 kgs?
Yeah, 20, 25.
Right? So maybe that's another hour of your time, right? But what is 100 kgs of, or so I'm sorry, what does 20 kgs of Petchy equate to? I thought, I don't know, I'm doing like 150, 100 check sockets, something like that. Maybe 200 check sockets, somewhere in that range. And it's like, you just helped X amount of people walk again.
Right.
And that's crazy. So, yeah, you guys have stuff to do at night. I don't want anybody to stay late. I get that. But I think you guys are willing to do it because you realize I'm helping people through a traumatic incident in their life. So I'm not going to penny pinch. I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to do it. And that's why I love you guys. Because you guys just come in like we're helping somebody walk again. I mean, we're going to say this in another episode. We have so much going on in Ukraine right now. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the soldiers in Ukraine. We can't even compete with these guys. And that's going to be a different podcast we talk about.
100%. And for those, a little sidebar, if you don't know what we're doing, Ukraine.
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Look at Mike Gorski's LinkedIn. They're reposted everywhere.
Right.
And it's a great way to see kind of what our filament, what our machines are doing in that type of scenario.
Yeah.
And it gives a good understanding. But
Yeah.
for sure, that'll definitely be a future podcast episode where hopefully we could talk with some people.
We will. Absolutely. I already have some
And
of the guys,
out there.
some of my
You know,
guys in Ukraine.
Thinking this a little bit further, talk about the global impact that you guys have had. I was with Mike in Germany
Yeah.
at OT World
In Leipzig, right?
5 years ago now, right? 4 or 5. I think it was 5 years ago.
Well, we were
The
there
first
twice
time.
now.
We're,
Twice,
yeah. So the first time we were there.
It was a good time.
The first time that you brought a printer there.
Yeah.
Right. And we saw the aha bells and the aha moments popping off worldwide at that
Yeah,
point.
we did.
Printers were there. Printers were a big part of that show, and a lot of people with cool technology, but they just couldn't touch the speed, accuracy, precision, and quality
Thank you.
of what you guys had.
Thank you.
And I even saw that printer print a bratwurst.
We did actually. We actually took a LinkedIn photo. We had 2 brats, ketchup and mustard, right there on the blue G10 print plate. We did.
Yeah.
And I think they got a little cold, so we turned the heated bed on, tried to warm the bratwurst on. And this is live, like during the show. We're like, listen, our bratwurst's a little cold, so we put them on there for a few minutes, warming them up. We did do that.
That's
Just trying really hard.
We're just trying. And
We're just trying.
But I think
we're just doing our best.
right. And I think that's what's really important about us. I don't think I've ever called myself an expert.
No.
I don't think I ever have. Because
No.
every
Yeah.
day I'm learning something new.
There's a word that I've eliminated from our practice.
Is that expert?
Perfect.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Tell me
people,
why.
People will say this. The alignment's perfect. The check socket's perfect. And I'm like, guys, perfect does not exist in the world of prosthetics. People are we're dynamic, and I use a lot of analogies with my patients because sometimes we can talk in the most technical terms every day,
Right.
but you have to connect with people, and analogies are a good way. I'm definitely not the English guy in my house. My wife helps all my daughters, both my daughters, with all their English homework. I'm the math and science guy. You come to me, I'll teach you math, I'll teach you science, I'll figure out how to do it. Another conversation, but I am a mathematician. That's what I would go. I was gonna be a
mathematician.
I was
like
going to be a
that.
math teacher, but it just didn't work out, and that's how I wound up in prosthetics.
Math teacher prosthetics.
Yeah. So the word perfect can't exist because I like to use the analogy of putting on the same pair of jeans 5 days in a row.
Okay.
Depending on what you do, what you eat, what your lifestyle is like. If you wear the same pair of jeans 5 days in a row, they fit differently every day, don't
That's
they?
right. Yeah, they do.
So a prosthetic limb or an amputated limb is like that as well. Every person going through life, let's say we're going to go out and get a burger for dinner tonight. We're going to retain a little bit of extra salt.
Okay.
Things might not fit as good the next day. So what we do as prosthetists, we have to take a snapshot of that limb in time and try and predict all these changes. And I think it really is a good segue into one of your guys' long-term use materials, CyronMAX.
Yeah.
And what that offers. So I think a lot of people that are probably going to listen to this know a lot about prosthetics and know about our traditional process and how we do things. And a lot of that traditional process involves the word carbon fiber, lamination.
Yep.
Don't get me started. Everyone is the best lamination technique
I've
in the world.
heard that a lot in OP, right?
Yeah.
I'm the best. Everyone's the best.
No one's ever met the second best process.
No one's ever met the second best process.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I still haven't met him
Yep.
yet.
See? Everyone's
Or her.
right. Yeah.
Him or her.
Yeah.
I don't want to judge. But shout out to my young female resident prosthetist, Riley. She is going to be a game changer and a game wrecker. She is awesome, and she is holding down the fort for me while I'm hanging out with you guys out here in Pennsylvania. She's holding down the clinic. But can't say enough about her. We've been a forward thinker with printing for a long time.
Yeah, you have.
And we, also have to tell the story of how CPX got its name because it's
Oh, please
amazing.
do. Yes.
Yeah. So what is CPX? The original material, the original. I would call it a long-term use material. How do we get beyond PET G?
And technically, it's a high-impact copoly polypropylene. Technically, that's what it is on paper. But copoly, CP, that's not as good as the actual story, though. That's what it is. What's the story behind it? Do you want the story?
I know the story.
Go
So
ahead,
I
tell the
had to
story.
ask Mike, what's the X? Is it like an X factor? Is it extra strong?
Is it extreme?
Is it extra gooder? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I was talking to one of my buddies. I don't know who your buddy is, but you were talking with him about this new material that you're really excited about. And we have CP, but that means certified prosthetist, in the lingo that we work with.
Yeah,
So what
yeah.
else can we do? And he's like, well, it's CP. And I think DMX came on in the
DMX,
background.
man.
X
Rest in
gonna give
power.
it to you.
Yeah.
So they're like, it's got to be CPX, but I love it. And I don't share the story too often because it's. How do you say that in a clinical setting?
So, Mike, how about you talk to us about the evolution of CPX into CPX-KyronMAX as a material?
All right. So before we talk about CyronMAX, we got to talk about why we are talking about CyronMAX. So definitive, right? We'd be at shows with Tony. We'd have other clinicians come up to us, and say, "Are you doing definitive? Are you doing definitive?" And I forget who it was. This is a true story. We're in Tony's booth. They came up to me and they said, "Does FI have the big D? Is the big D ready yet?" And I was like, "Do we have the big D?" I'm like, "Oh, does FI have the big D?" I'm like, "Oh, definitive. Oh, I see that. It's good playing words there." So I remember the process talking to me, but it stuck with me ever since. I'm like, FI needs to have the big D if we're going to do this in the O&P industry.
Okay.
And I'm happy to announce, with the recent tests that PROTEOR has done, this ragtag group has figured out the material to ensure that we scientifically have the big D. And to talk about that, we're going to lean back on CyronMAX for a second here. So Mitsubishi has this special forces, like elite division. It's like Delta Force, SEAL Team 6 of plastics. And
If you're not from the United States, it's very elite.
it's very elite, right? I think it's more like Delta Force than SEAL Team 6. It's more Delta Force, right? These are the guys you call their last chance. Like, they have to get the job done. And I went to the CyronMAX team, led by, I don't want to say led by, I'll take a step back here, who project managed this project. Alan Mishik was the project manager, right? Mm-hmm. Al probably texted me saying, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed," because Al's very embarrassed a little bit. But Alan Mishik,
Al, a great guy, by the way.
great guy. Oh my God, he's also one of my best friends.
guy.
Al's a great guy.
He will probably be on.
Oh, absolutely,
this
I'll be
podcast
on.
at some point.
I got to give a plug to the first time I really met Al in person.
Right.
Was in Indianapolis. We had an
Right.
O&P show there, and I invited Mike and Al out to something that's very special to me. So I've had the same group of friends for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And every year we do this thing called Man Weekend. And Man Weekend is a celebration or a getaway for all of us to spend time together. We golf a lot. We have an awesome wiffle ball game. And we eat a lot of smoked meats and steak.
Okay.
We consider chicken a vegetable that weekend, unless it's in
chicken is
wing
a vegetable
form.
that weekend. It is. It really is.
But it's a wonderful thing. Shout out to my Man Weekend guys. Love you.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and go back. And Al went to our special,
Well,
our inaugural pre-Man Weekend
He did.
fancy dinner.
Okay.
Well, what sucks now, just to preface the story, Al left Mitsubishi. He's with one of the competitors, AirTech now, which is also a great company. AirTech's fantastic. I know the guys, Greg and Zach, they're very well. They're great guys. But so I talked to Al about this years ago. I said, "Al, I need Mitsubishi's help here." And he goes, "Bro, I got you. What do you need?" And on the phone, I said this to Al. I said, "We need the big definitive. How do we get to the big definitive name and the material for sockets?" So Al's like, "I want to introduce you to the CyronMAX team." And I said, "Who's the CyronMAX?" And he's like, "These are the special forces of carbon fibers and plastics impregnated together." And I said, "Al, these are my people. Introduce me." So Al helped me manage this project for the past few years. And what we did was we took our base material of CyronMAX.
CPX, right?
I'm sorry, our base material CPX. Sorry, our base material CPX. And we impregnated it with CyronMAX material. So what we did was we took a proprietary and exclusive type of carbon fiber from Mitsubishi that's made internally by Mitsubishi. And it's a certain length, certain chop, certain percentage. And we added additional adhesive agents to it to create a polypropylene carbon fiber reinforced material that not only prints easily, but as it prints, it kind of glues itself together. So that's why it's so strong. It's not just layers naturally bonding over top, while one layer gets soft, hard, another layer on top of it, right? There's actually these adhesive agents that are essentially gluing it together. And so this was a very long project. I want to say 3 to 4 years, top of my head, like 3 to 4 years we went through this, different variations, different trials. And then we came out with CPX-KyronMAX, and we're like, "Oh, does this work? Like, is this going to get us to the definitive socket?"
And anyone that's been printing for a long time knows that Z layer height in prosthetics.
That's where it's the weakest.
That's the weakest.
Yep.
That's where it breaks. It typically doesn't break at the distal end. It typically breaks on the proximal wings of like a BK socket. That's where we see the breaks at. But in clinical practice, once we learn the material, we work together to dial in the settings, figure out how we had to print it, how we had to design it. Anecdotally, I could say in our clinic that we have had several patients from a low functional level to a very high functional level.
Yep.
You utilize this material in the field for 6 months to a year without breaks. It's approaching the word bulletproof. It's approaching that big D. And I'm very happy to hear that there's some research and mechanical testing coming out from the PROTEOR group.
Yes.
On ensuring that CPX-KyronMAX does get that official definitive stamp of approval.
So this is what I'm happy to announce to you. Guys, I got good news. I got really good news.
Do you?
This is what I've been working on for years with Alan Mishik, right? We got the stamp of approval. We did it. Woo! Thank you.
Yeah.
Golf clap, yeah. Or more than a golf clap.
Hey, it's Masters Week, guys. It's golf clap.
It's golf clap.
Masters Week. It is Masters Week.
So I believe it's 4,300, 4,400 Newton meters of force is what we typical loading, right, for static to failure.
I think we got to 46.
And it was on
48?
cyclical testing,
46,
right?
48?
On the Newton's force, yes.
Try 6,600.
Yes, you're right. I made the spec sheet on it.
Yes, you did make the spec sheet.
Yeah.
We got more. We are above it by 2,200 Newton meters of force.
And
Yes.
that's in cyclical testing, right?
No, that's in
that's
the
ultimate force.
Ultimate force.
Okay.
And we blew past 3 million cycles. Blew past it.
Great.
And we were keeping it quiet for so many years because people said, "Hey, do you have definitive? Do you have definitive?" I had a gut feeling we did, but me personally, I told myself, unless we have the data to back it up, I'm not going to advertise that. PROTEOR showed we have the data. It's one of the reasons why I led to the acquisition, that we figured out that this recipe, it's exclusive to FI, now exclusive to PROTEOR, and we did it. We actually cracked the code for 3D printing a definitive prosthetic socket. Something of 6,600, 6,400 Newton meters of force. That's never been done before. That is ridiculous.
And I know you guys have your own proprietary design process right now and how you're doing it.
With the Orton software.
With the Orton software, yeah. And I'd like to say that at BIONIC, we're continuing our DoD research-funded research project, and we are utilizing a more traditional or more field accepted design as opposed to a proprietary design.
Right.
We're looking at the same thing. We're looking at that ultimate force test. We're looking at that cyclical test right now. We're in the middle of testing right now to see if I want to say that your guys' CPX definitive is printed on a more of a standard nozzle, less high flow, right?
Correct. This was on a 0.9 nozzle.
0.9 nozzle.
Yeah.
So we're looking at it on the traditional or on the high flow nozzle.
2.5.
With the 2.5 nozzle. Yeah. So we're looking at it there too to see if we can approach those same levels. I can't say it with any certainty yet because testing is still going on, but from what I've heard from our research team at Rosalind Franklin University, testing is looking promising.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
It's design is a big part of it, but
of course
material, and identifying the material is also a big part of it.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to supersede what PROTEOR and FI are doing.
No, not at all.
But we're trying to,
confirm the results.
And look at it from a different route.
Sure.
And some people that might have an FI printer or a high flow printer, I think most high flow printers are FI printers. Let's be honest with it.
Yeah, they are. I appreciate that.
So, there's a lot of ways to do it, without necessarily upgrading or changing hardware so much. But we're excited to share the results when we get them.
Yeah.
It's exciting to be a part of a team over there at BIONIC with FI and PROTEOR support that are, just continually looking to advance what we're doing.
They really, they really are. And again, that's why we did this deal with PROTEOR and Edward and Carol, because they actually care. And they see this industry going digital, and they want it done correctly. And I'll be the first one to admit, we're not corporate people. We're not suit and tie. But damn, if we don't have your back. But damn, if you have a problem, we don't solve it. Like anything you need, we take care of our customers. And we are so passionate about the O&P industry. We're going to make sure you have the right materials, you have the right settings, and especially you have the right hardware to perform the job at hand. So I think what really gets me really happy about CPX-KyronMAX is that we did it. We did what all the small business processes asked me to do. Do you guys have definitive material? How do I print a definitive prosthetic socket? We did it, right?
Yes.
Alan Mishik, Mitsubishi Chemical Group, the ChYROMAX team, the early adopters like Tony and Sagar at OneSource, or numerous other early adopters. We showed that.
About Joe and the PROTEOR team.
Oh, Joe's been fantastic. Joe's been, it was Joe's design. So Joe Fairley should get all the credit for the design. Absolutely, 1,000%. His design is what got us past 6,000 Newton meters of force, which is crazy. So yeah, definitely shout out to Joe. Thank you, Joe, for the design. But we did it. At the end of the day, it took numerous people to get there. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just FI. It wasn't just PROTEOR. It took a team. And I've always ran FI, now PROTEOR Print, as a team initiative. I always said it's a team, right? We have Mason making filament. We have Ryan over here doing the marketing. We have the team doing engineering, manufacturing. It's a team initiative. So I can't give enough credit to the actual team that built it. Not just me, not just you guys, but the team built it. We did it. It's not just a myth anymore. It's reality. No. Right? Yeah. It's reality.
It is reality. And it's an interesting reality to be living right now.
Well, the crazy thing is 2 years ago, we didn't have this.
No.
2 years ago, we couldn't say definitive socket.
2 years ago, I wasn't here.
Right. You weren't even here 2 years ago. Mason was still in kindergarten 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He really ages fast. I mean, for a kindergartner, he looks fantastic.
Benjamin Button disease.
Benjamin Button. I see what he's doing. But no, in all seriousness, like in less than 2 years, we showed that we went from, can this be definitive? Is technology real? To it can be definitive, and it can be in your clinic. It can be turned around the same day. And I think that's something that we should all be proud of. We should really be proud of that. So as far as using it in clinics, talking about how clinics are using it, right? I want to talk to the real deal, the OGs. What are the OGs doing with ChYROMAX, high-flow 3D printing, PETG, whatever you want to call it, right?
Of course.
And I think, Tony, this is perfect for you to talk about BIONIC, OneSource. How are you guys using high-flow 3D printing, not just to help BIONIC, but the people around you as well?
Great. Well, thanks for the opportunity to be on here and talk about it. Our mission at OneSource is to simplify things. I think everyone that's a prosthetist in the U.S. on this call or on this podcast listening in understands how complex some things have gotten, especially on the reimbursement side. On the purchasing side, there's a lot of manufacturers that are raising prices constantly. There's a lot of consolidation in the industry. So we're trying to offer an opportunity for the smaller companies to embrace new technology and build a complete system utilizing some of the greatest hits of prosthetics. So if you're a prosthetist, if you look on your shelf right now, you're not going to see all the same box from the same company. You're going to see parts from, distributor A, B, C, manufacturer A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever it may be. And at OneSource, what our goal is, we're committed to providing three things for you. We want to, first and foremost, provide you with an well-fitting, awesome outcome-inducing 3D printed diagnostic socket. So we want to offer you a scanning solution. Right now, we partner exclusively with Orton for that.
Which is a software by PROTEOR.
It's software by PROTEOR, and what we found by bringing that into our BIONIC system is it allowed us to scale. It's a super easily accessible software platform for scanning based with an iPhone. 90% of O&P practices have an iPhone in their pocket that they're utilizing to access everything. So the scanning is very accurate. You pair that up with a few measurements, we're able to get a great 3D shape that we can then design and print from there. And in our practice, what we see is we don't have issues. Utilizing Orton and utilizing Orton's scanning system, we get great accuracy. We cut down waste. We cut down multiple diagnostic sockets, and we're able to really build an efficiency within the system. So first and foremost, with OneSource, we want to provide you with a great fitting socket. Then the next component of OneSource, we want to give you the opportunity to purchase the components as part of this package that are right for your patient. So we don't just limit it to one manufacturer. I know there's other manufacturers out there that offer this complete all-in-one solution, but it's all from their own products. Prosthetists, patients have different needs, and those different needs have to be met by multiple manufacturers to create a good patient flow. So OneSource, what we have right now, we have partnerships with the major manufacturers like Ohio Willowwood, Oser, Autobach, PROTEOR, College Park, that ST&G, that provide some of the best prosthetic components that are available. We partner with another great U.S.-based company in Bulldog to provide those alignable components that are strong, tested. They've lasted the test of time. They offer great solutions. And what we're doing is we're offering the ability for a prosthetist to go in, build the socket out, get the right fitting diagnostic socket, whether it's AK or BK, choose the right components, the knee, the feet, the alignable components, the liner, whatever the suspension may be. But we have another wrinkle, which I think really sets us apart from anyone else that is trying to do this. BIONIC being the largest independent practice that's here right now, we have a lot of data. We understand what reimbursement trends are. We know what we're getting denied for ahead of time. So we have built a documentation suite that comes along with OneSource. That's a part of the package. So we have the ability to have anyone that wants to join OneSource and wants to utilize it on a case-by-case agreement to have access to some top-tier documentation that meets current industry trends and is constantly evolving. That's one of the things. We're very agile. We're still a small force. We can change things based on what we're seeing. We can create wonderful documentation, prosthetist documentation, excellent physician note templates that are constantly evolving to meet the trends that we're seeing within the reimbursement industry. And I think that's something that OneSource has to offer that isn't out there yet. You know, the story of OneSource and how OneSource can affect a practice. I'll be completely honest. OneSource developed out of my pure hatred of writing notes. You guys don't know what notes are, but as a prosthetist, it is a big part of it. They have to be perfect. They don't really matter too much in the medical chart, but they have to be perfect. And, you know, for some of these complex cases, you could spend an hour and a half to 3 hours writing that note for a clinical case. So I thought to myself, like, I'm running a practice. I'm running multiple practices, but I also have a family, and I've got little kids at home. I want to be a part of the life. I just can't be sucked into work constantly. How can I automate some of this? How can I find a way to make this easier for me and my team? And that's what we've done. We've built some software suites to enable a prosthetist to maybe only have to spend 5 to 7 minutes documenting things, but our back end software APIs, whatever you want to call it, really are pretty darn smart, and they create a wonderful output that will help. I don't want to say transform or elevate your practice. We're all doing great things, but we're giving you our recipe to success. You know, BIONIC is the unicorn in the field right now.
You guys are.
We're the last standing success story. So many of these other practices have sold out to manufacturers, sold out to larger groups, but we're still here fighting the fight as the leader of the mom and pop shops, I think.
You guys are. I agree.
And we want to share our recipes for success so that we can offer different practices an opportunity to grow.
All right, but for those who don't want to invest in large-scale 3D printing, who maybe aren't ready to bring in a high-flow 3D printer, they've OneSource help them out, correct?
Yeah, we can help you on that diagnostic pathway. We're happy to roll out those next phases of printing to positively affect patient care, and really being in mind of, you know, we're a larger practice, we have larger purchasing power.
Right.
How can we help pass that along to some of the smaller shops, but also give them value? It's not all about money. And I from working with Mike on this and working with a lot of the people, like, relationships matter.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, at the end of the day, we can all argue over a nickel here and there. But, like, if you have a partner that's willing to work with you and help you grow your practice and invest that time in your practice so you could become more efficient, you could become, you know, we can look at every aspect of your practice so we enable you to grow. That's really what OneSource's mission is.
Right.
So, we're looking forward to having conversations with people about how we can help them grow. You've probably heard about OneSource and what we do. My personal favorite ad that we had in one of the O and P edges a few months ago was the Taylor Swift Eras theme OneSource ad. All the different sockets we printed in different colors. Not everyone loved it, but I loved it because my daughters are Swifties. So, one of my daughters is a Swiftie. The other one's a rocker. She actually shares something in common with Mike and I. Her favorite band is The Offspring.
One of the best bands ever. In my opinion, the best band.
Yeah.
Show my age, but I do agree. I think Offspring is the best rock band. I do.
Yeah, she's very much looking forward to going to another concert this summer.
That's great. Maybe I'll tag along.
Yeah. Come on down. It's an indie. We'll love to.
All right. So I appreciate. Is there anything else about OneSource? We're going on to the next topic. Anything else about OneSource you want to say? You guys have been great. You're offering people to get their feet wet in high flow 3D printing before they would invest in a PROTEOR asset, and I think that's fantastic. And you get R3 printing is not for everybody, and I get that. But you guys are bridging that gap between do you want to buy it, do you not want to buy it? Any last words before we move on to the next topic about OneSource?
For us, it's the tagline that I've had from OneSource within our own practice and helping other practices, we're here to help. There's multiple ways that we can help. We can help you with purchasing power. We can help you with 3D design. And we can help you, most importantly, with getting documentation together that helps you get that reimbursement cycle started, helps you get reimbursement initiated, and protects you in the back end through your documentation. So what I have to say is give us a call. We're happy to talk about it, and we're happy to help you implement it into your practice.
Well, I can't, from the bottom of my heart, thank you enough for everything you've done for me personally, professionally, and this team here. Tony, you, Sagar, the whole team, Samesh, thank you so much for everything.
Appreciate it, Mike.
So all I want to do, I want to wrap up right now and just go around the table here. First episode ever, closing thoughts. How did we do? Do you feel enlightened? Do you feel like you learned something? Do you feel like we just wasted an hour of somebody's life? I'm going to start with you, Ryan, first. How do you feel? Not how do you personally feel, but was it effective? Do you think people are going to tune into a season 2? An episode 2. Or are they just going to cancel after the first episode? What do you think is going to happen right now?
I mean, as of right now, as I would say, the co-host, obviously, of this podcast, I would hope that we continue on to an episode 2.
I think it was a great episode.
An episode 3. Season 2.
Yeah.
I would say I think we did a good job.
Yeah.
It's not up to our judgment.
Right.
It's up to those who watch.
Yeah.
Kurt Patton, I'm looking at you.
That's right. Make Kurt Patton watch.
Master's clap.
He's
probably at the Masters.
He's probably at the Masters.
He probably is at the Masters.
He probably is. That guy's no G. Whole other episode, Kurt Patton.
This has been a lot of fun.
So do you feel like walking away from this podcast, you've learned more about prosthetics and how they're implemented, considering you just recently joined FI, now PROTEOR Print? Do you feel like you're just more educated on the whole process works?
Oh, of course. And I think being the co-host of this show, I'm going to learn more and more each episode.
All right, Mason, I apologize. We're going to talk more about 3D printing filament. We're going to talk about more about the extrusion process in the future. But doing great. Honestly, you've blown past any expectations I had. You've really shown yourself to be a huge, valuable asset to the company, all seriousness.
Thank you.
So what do you think, talking to Tony, knowing about how your product's finally being used in the field?
It feels good. And, yeah, I mean, I never really saw it actually applied from the spool besides the stuff that we test print in-house.
Yeah.
So it's nice knowing that it's actually going out. I mean, I knew it was going out for a patient to help somebody, but having someone say, like, there's good feedback off of it, means a lot.
Awesome.
Comes
I
out
appreciate
great.
Tony, one of my personal best friends. Thank you for everything you've done for me personally, professionally. You and Sagar, top 10 in my life. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being on the first episode, possibly the last. We're going to find out real quick, but it might be the last episode. Anything you think? You've seen our podcast room, seen how we operate. Any closing thoughts that you have on this whole operation?
I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this can grow. It's I think it's a very candid look into the field of prosthetics.
Yeah.
There are some other things out there going on that are just a little bit too buttoned up. Not everyone in the world is so buttoned up. We like to have a good time. We're very passionate about what we do, and you guys are very passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
So bringing on those people, bringing them into this room, bringing them into a Zoom call, whatever it may be.
Right.
Like, your group has a way of breaking down barriers and letting people open up a little bit.
We want people to be comfortable here.
Yeah, exactly.
Very
And
comfortable.
that's what we're excited about.
Yeah.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here. It's been a blast for the last 17 hours that we're recording this. That's why we all look so tired right now.
I know. It's
But
been a
hey,
long
hopefully we
time.
get 12 minutes of good content.
As long as we get 12 minutes of good content, 12 hours recording, we've done pretty good.
Yeah.
We've
Oh,
done pretty good.
we 100% got at least a 15-minute podcast.
One thing we want to do, Tony, the first episode, we have 2 work tables here. As you can tell, these work tables are well used. They're
They're
well
work
loved.
tables.
They have been. There's knife marks in them. There's drill marks in them. I have circles here for when I used to countersink stuff right into them. So I already gave you a Sharpie. Can you please sign this work table with your name with a -1 to say you were the very first episode on the official first ever Build and Banter podcast hosted by PROTEOR.
And for all the prosthetists or residents out there that are listening to you should have a Sharpie in your pocket at all times. You should have a 4mm Allen key, and you
Yes.
should have a tape measure. Riley will tell you that. Here it is.
Woo!
Phenomenal.
Number 1. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 1, season 1, Build and Banter podcast by PROTEOR. We thank you, Tony, for being with us today. And I think that's a wrap for our very first episode, season 1, episode 1. What do you think?
Yeah.
I think we're good to go, man.
Good. Well, thank you, everybody. We
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. Have a great night, and thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week.